Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Python fundamental series on data types. In this second part, I'm going to talk a bit about dictionaries. And dictionaries are essentially a arrangement of unsorted pairs of keys and values. And so the way you create a dictionary is let's say we call our dictionary our dict, and you sort of make clear to the interpreter that it is a dictionary with these curly braces. I like to go like this, where I open the curly braces and then I start filling it with key value pairs, because I feel like it's more easy to read the entries that way. But I think it's good coding practice, but it would work if you just wrote everything in one line. Anyway, so let's get started. Let's create a dictionary with name, and then you go with a delimiter, which is a colon, and name is, I don't know, James or something, and then you tell it that so this would be the key. The key is name, and the value in this case is a string which holds the name James. You separate the key value pairs by commas. And then let's say James also has an age. So up here, just for you guys, the key is a string. Like, keys are always strings, and the value could be any data type you want to. It could be a list. It could be a list of lists. It can be any single numeric data type. It can be a string. It can even be a dictionary itself, which is one of the more advanced concepts in dictionaries, and I'm going to talk about it in a later tutorial probably. But so right now, James has an integer age, so say James is 23. And what else does James have? He has a favorite color or something, and that is blue. It's not very creative, since now we have two strings and a integer, but it's just to show you guys that it works. So again, we are going to print our entire, if I am able to type, our entire dictionary, and we run that. And sure enough, it prints out all our key value pairs. So the name is James, the age is 23, and its favorite color is blue. Now let's check if we really created a dictionary or if I'm fluking you guys. So let's use our type function to check out what the assignment to our dict variable really was, like which object was assigned to it. And this is something I talked about in the first data type video, but I can't stress this enough. In Python, every time you assign something to a variable, in this case our variable is named our dict, it creates an object. So all of this is not like some, let's say, simple data type like you would have in C++ or any other language, but it really creates an object with all kinds of properties. And this is why, again, if you use the type function, it will return the class dictionary. So it's not just a dictionary, it is an object that is in dictionary that is created when you assign it. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is a very important concept, and I want you guys to keep that in your minds. Okay, so I have been talking about the value pair concept, so we should really shift this down here, because this is basically what I wanted to talk about in this essential lesson. And the next big sort of section I want to talk about is accessing items in a dictionary. So this one is like fairly straightforward. We have only 3 key value pairs, so it's not that big of a dictionary. However, if we wanted to access them, let me just get rid of the print real quick. If we wanted to access a single value, you could go about it with the braces method, that is. So let's first start with a print, and we wanted to print our dict, and you would go with the key that is, for example, name. If we wanted to know what the name in our dict is, let's save that and run it, and it gives us James. So this is one way how you can access the value of a certain specific key. It has to exist though, like if it doesn't exist, let me put text or something, which is a key that we don't have in our dictionary here. And if I rerun it, it gives us a key error, since text doesn't exist in our dictionary. So this is one way you can access values in a dictionary. Another way is the .get method. So it's a built-in method in Python, and you would go about it like the name of the dictionary, which is our dict. I already have that here. .get, and then you enter the key. Let's do a different one this time. Let's go age and run that. And sure enough, it gives us 23, which is the age we have in our dictionary for James. So I don't know the difference between the parentheses method and the... Let's do the same to show you guys that it works. I don't know the difference between these two. I think the .get method is a lot more elegant since you know what's going on, and it's a sort of more Pythonic way, I think, or I feel, of working with dictionaries. But I think essentially they do the same thing, and it doesn't matter which one you do use. Yeah, so that's about accessing items in a dictionary. If you wanted to access multiple items in a dictionary, there are also several ways you could go about this, but the easiest way, I think, is looping through it. I'll keep our dictionary here because it's a simple example, and we could go over it with a for loop. So let's go for x in our dict. And I like to keep a little space here. It's just, I don't know if it makes sense. It's just for me to... I just think it makes it easier to debug if you have syntax errors. But that's just my preference. Then we can simply just print the x. So let's print x, run that. Sure enough, it gives us all the keys in this case. Okay, so interestingly enough, we didn't get the values, but we got the keys of our dictionary. Now, that makes sense since for the accessing method, we did something like our dict, and then gave it the key, and it returned the value, right? Something like this. Or we used the .get method and got our value that way. So it makes sense that we now get the name and not the key. Syntactically, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. So if we were to get all the values for all the keys in our dictionary, we could go about it like this. Or, okay, dict. And then we go x. Run it. And sure enough, now for all the x's in our dictionary, that is all the keys, we get the values, which is James. He's 23 and his favorite color is blue. So far, so good. So there's one more interesting thing. If you were to get the key and the value at the same time or in the same loop for some reason, there's two different ways you can go about this. One is the .values function, where you have the loop exactly the same way I have right here. So for x in our dictionary, we go .values, and then we print our x. Let's run that, and it gives us all the values in our dictionary. So this is an easier way. If you were only interested in the values, you wouldn't have to write it in the condition of the loop. You could do it already in the declaration of the loop's range. Now, if you were to get the name and the key at the same time, you could go about it like x comma y in our dictionary, but now we use the .items function. And when we print x and y at the same time, let me save that and run it. And sure enough, you always get the key and the value. So we get James, he's still 23 and his favorite color is still blue. So the .items function lets you access the key and the value at the same time, which I think is pretty neat. Okay, so now say you have a dictionary and it has values that you're not interested in, like for example James's favorite color. For some reason we wanted to get rid of this. Then we could go about it like this. So we want to print our dictionary, but we want to get rid of the favorite color, and for that you could use the pop method. So .pop, and then we go color. And if we print this, it gives us blue, which is his favorite color. So that was to check what it actually got rid of. If we now do it differently and we pop his favorite color and we afterwards print what is sort of left over of our dictionary. I apologize. If we run this, we got James and age. The favorite color has disappeared, which is exactly what we expected the pop method to do. So one last method or function I want to talk about in Python is the popitem method. So before Python 3.7, this got rid of a random entry of the dictionary, but I believe from Python 3.7 on, it gets rid of the latest entry of the dictionary. I'm not sure about that. Let's print it, and we got James and his age is 23. Let's rerun it to see if it stays the same. Sure enough, it seems to be that it gets rid of the last item that we've added to our dictionary. So this is how you can remove entries or items in your dictionary. Now, one last thing that could be interesting when you're working with dictionaries is figuring out how many entries it has. And for that, we can use the length function. So we could go print length of our dictionary, and we would expect it to be 3. Turns out it's 3. And I mean, for this example, it's pretty easy because again, you can fairly straightforward count the number of items we have in our dictionary. But if you're dealing with longer ones, which usually is the case, I think that is pretty handy. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to talk about some more advanced techniques when working with dictionaries in a later tutorial, but I think that's it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. That helps me to grow and draw more attention towards Python as a tool for, well, right now it's a fundamental series, but soonish I'm going to start my medical image processing series, and yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. Other than that, I hope you guys are doing great. I wish all y'all a great day and hope to see you soon in one of my upcoming videos. Peace.